So, hello, this is Yuris Kaja talking to you from Latvia again. It's been a couple of days since our national election on October 1st, and now the horse trading, or whatever you want to call it, the negotiations are starting to try to form a government. Now, it's obvious that Prime Minister Krišjānis Kariņš, the American born political leader here, is going to be asked to form the new government. And in fact, he has been given a kind of go ahead to start preliminary negotiations ahead of being officially told by the president of Latvia, yes, form a government and, get back to me, tell me who's going to be in it. So far, it looks like the government will inevitably have the National Alliance, which is kind of a right-wing nationalist or right-leaning, right-of-center nationalist party, and the brand new United List, which consists of, it's a party alliance, electoral alliance, consists of the Latvian Green Party, which split off from the Green and Farmers Alliance, and the Latvian Regional Alliance, which kind of represents the world outside of Riga, the capital. And there is a world out there. There are small country towns. There is the second biggest city of Daugavpils. There are the two western port cities of Liepāja and Ventspils and so forth. And, of course, a party from the town of Liepāja. Why a party from the town of Liepāja? Because the United List was headed by, but not as a candidate for Latvia's parliament, but was headed by Uldis Pīlāns, who is a construction businessman and the kind of an architect from Liepāja. And these three parties would, in and of themselves, have 54 votes in the Latvian Saima, 100-member parliament. And they could probably manage to hold things together for a while. Now, the Prime Minister and also the President have indicated that a four-party coalition, bringing in the 10 votes of the kind of somewhat left-leaning Social Democratic progressives, who are also new to the parliament, but not new to being elected to the Riga City Council 2 years ago. Bringing these guys in would bring the vote title majority of the coalition to 64. It would avoid trouble if some people were absent from a vote or if some people changed their minds. And of course, I don't think anybody is officially saying this, but the United List may have internal contradictions. We don't know what could happen there. Certainly the Greens could be more leaning towards some of the ideas that the progressives have about having a green, sustainable system of energy supply in this country, and I think they are more liberal on such issues, perhaps, as women's reproductive rights and LGBT rights. Though I haven't really looked into what the Greens have said ever since they split off from the party which associated them with the convicted criminal and former mayor of Ventspils, Aivars Lembergs. So I'm not saying with any certainty that the Greens would tend to have differences of opinion with maybe the Regional Alliance, and certainly the Liepāja party, which I have no idea who they are. And also with the supposedly technocratic approach to government that the United List wants to have, where we are just sort of going to run the country like a crisis management team, which is not entirely wrong because there is a bit of a crisis. We have a war going on. We have the energy shortages and gas being cut off and heating and energy prices and all of that going on. But anyway, what is now characteristic of the whole process of trying to form a new government is that there's a lot of incredibly vicious and paranoid carrying on about the progressives on social media. There are people here in Latvia who seriously think that if the progressives are allowed into government, we're just like weeks away from the Russian tanks rolling into Latvia. And I would really wonder where those tanks are going to come from, because a lot of them seem to have been blown up by the Ukrainian army or captured. And the few tanks that were remaining are probably being moved desperately down to Ukraine rather than being kept near the Baltic borders. But there is a McCarthyite political paranoia about anything that sounds like social democracy or sort of left-leaning economic politics or whatever. It's really amazing. There are some people who literally see the apocalypse coming if the progressives, who are exactly like any West European social democratic party in their views, they are for reducing inequality. They are for a tax system that would tax the sort of built up property in Riga, which is a lot of it, where people are just sort of sitting on empty fields because the property values are rising. There's no way these people are contributing in any way by investment or development. They're simply, pure real estate speculation is going on here, and it's legitimate. It's a legitimate question as to whether or not this unused real estate should be taxed in order to stimulate its being developed for something, industry, housing, whatever. Also, that there should be a progressive tax system, that people with higher incomes should pay higher taxes. I mean, that's sort of generally accepted all over, at least in Western Europe. That a kind of Scandinavian model, which sets a kind of bottom line for how poor you can be and how poor your standard of housing and healthcare should be, is also nothing new or radical. It is not communism to say that everybody should be able to have a guaranteed welfare system, guaranteed minimum income if you're left without work, or that you should not be able to that you should be able to pay for your housing, get a little supplement for paying for housing, and that your health care should be reasonably available and tax financed or low cost. I mean, this is not the Soviet Union. This is not North Korea. This is not Pol Pot. And all of these examples have been popping up in social media that one begins to wonder about the sanity of some of these people. And this kind of background noise, and I think it's not only in the Twitter sphere in which I exist, but it's probably elsewhere, must be overcome in order to finally let a Western-style social democratic partner into the Latvian government. And then see if they, together with the National Alliance and together with the New Unity, which is kind of a centrist liberal party of Prime Minister Karinš, and the United List, which, as I said, it's kind of hard to figure out exactly who they are. Hopefully they're not going to be ripping each other apart. And let them try to work. Let them try to address the issues of national security. Let them try to address the issue of making it through the winter with the heating and electricity costs that we will well face. The national security issue also of making sure that we expand our armed forces, that we have the proper defensive weaponry for our armed forces, air defense, coastal defense, HIMARS, a lot of other things that the Latvian military or the Baltic militaries may need and again may be able to buy in cooperation. So all of that can happen, I think, if we have a strong majority for a four-party coalition, and that will probably be able to hold together. Certainly, the only element that I see there that might be a bit of a loose screw is, again, this United List, because there are sort of divergent streams within that party alliance. And certainly Mr. Pelance, who was the kind of the figurative head of all of this, he was not running for parliament, and he is not going to be named prime minister. Maybe somebody will try to advance him for a ministerial post of some sort. But in any case, I think he feels he's better off running his rather well-performing construction business, which does a lot of work in Scandinavia and Sweden and all of that. So there we have it. We have this kind of bizarre final process of trying to put together a government after an election in which people have made their views pretty clear that they want Krišjānis Kariņš to continue running the country for better or worse, as how they judge him, and that there should be a stable coalition. So let's see what happens in the next week. This is Juris Kažas signing off from Riga, Latvia.